Listen to Kevin Loyd when he was coming up in the world, he wouldn't have to be working such weird jobs on a Thursday night. He could be home with the wife and kids. That's why Kevin Loyd joins us to talk about retirement. Kevin Loyd, good morning.
Good morning, McGraw and Kelly. How are you?
Hi, Kevin.
Am I right about Billy Joel, right?
I have no idea. I couldn't speak intelligently about that, but
Never
I'd
stopped
say
me.
that if he did come see me, I think it would behoove him to do that.
Yes, I don't speak intelligently about anything, but it really hasn't stopped me from talking all these years. Kevin Loyd, president and owner of Legacy Wealth Advisors. We've been doing a show on the weekends called When Retirement Happens, and you have dedicated your professional career to being a financial fiduciary advisor for people who are coming up to retirement, because you've seen so many mistakes made, and that's sort of how you sort of help people. Today, we're talking about big corporations, big companies, and as you get closer to retiring, do you have a story for us?
I do. You know, I always think it's good to have a story, a part of the conversation, to help people get a good example of what they could be looking at. And you know, I see a lot of people from a lot of different corporations around here, around the St. Louis area. And one in particular would be like Laclede, or now the new name is, I'm still calling it Laclede, but the new name is Spire Energy.
Right.
And these guys and gals that are retiring from there, they've got so many different options, and it's the same across the board with a lot of different corporations. And we're faced with these different options, and specifically like for Laclede, the people that have been there for a while, their pensions kind of divided up into two segments. There's one segment that is what they call the grandfathered segment, the final pay, and then there's another segment called the cash balance.
Okay.
And the cash balance plan, okay, and the final pay plan. So the final pay plan, you can take this lump sum from the plan, or you can take a monthly check. And one person that I looked at in particular that we were just doing this on, we were looking at doing a check, a monthly check to come out for him and his wife, okay, for the rest of their lives. And they could take about $18,566 a year, or they could take this lump sum for $500,000, okay?
Right.
And so when I did the calculation and I put it inside their plan, and you have to test this inside your own specific plan, okay, but it's really all that they were getting on this was like a 3.7% distribution, basically off their $500,000 that they're going to leave at Laclede if they took that monthly pension plan. And so if you think about it, say, hey, if I think I can do better than 3.7% in the market, it probably makes sense to take this thing lump sum. And so if I didn't and I took that monthly check, it would take about 27 years for me to have taken out at least $500,000 out of this plan. So guys at Laclede typically try to retire as soon as possible around the age of 55.
Okay.
So if it takes me 27 years, I'm 82 by the time I got my $500,000 back.
Right. So you're saying they should have taken the lump sum.
Well, this particular person, it made sense for them to take the lump sum. Now, this lump sum is the present value of their pension, okay? And that's based upon the PBGC number. And right now, the PBGC number is very low. It's at 0.75, okay? So the lower the number, the higher the lump sum distribution. You know, back in the 2000s, it was around 4. So the amount of the lump sum was much, much smaller then, but it's making more sense because of interest rates being low. And so this could be the good sign of interest rates being low, because people can take larger amounts out of their pension plan and have a higher probability of success in retirement. Mm-hmm. So for this individual, I said, hey, take the lump sum of $500,000. You can roll that to an IRA so you don't have to pay the tax on that transfer. And then the second plan, the cash balance plan, this plan was richer. It was calculated completely different than the final pay plan, and so they were taking they could have the option to take $3,701 a year for the rest of both the husband and wife's life, or they could take $63,000 lump sum. Well, that distribution was 5.9%. And 5.9% is a lot higher than the other 3.7%. And I felt, you know, it probably makes sense to go ahead and take that as a monthly. Now, as these PVGC numbers change and they start increasing, it might make more and more sense for people to take it on a monthly basis, but it's why it's so important to test this inside your financial plan, because, see, most financial guys, they just roll this money out because that's how they get paid.
Right.
It has to be tested within the plan. Now,
hold on a second, because that's important, because you've got Social Security, you've got tax implications, and so all of that has to be figured out to see what's in the best interest of the person.
You do. As a fiduciary, I have to do what's best for the client. Not everybody does that. And, you know, for this individual as well, too, not only did he have a pension over here at Laclede or Spire, he also had this 401k, and this is the exciting part, I think, about it all. But everything has to be worked in congruency with each other to make sure you're making the right choices for you and your family. So he has this 401k plan with Spire. And inside his 401k plan, he has about $1 million in his 401k. But inside his 401k, he's got Spire stock, okay?
Right.
Remember, I've always talked about employer stock inside your 401k. You can reach inside that 401k plan, pull it out, and put it into your brokerage account. Okay? Why would you do that? Because you can save tons and tons of money by doing this if you do it correctly. It is complicated. You have to work with a professional to make sure you get it right. But for example, they had $300,000 in Spire stock, but their basis, the amount that they paid for the stock, was $100,000. So they had a gain of $200,000. So this guy, he's retiring in November, okay? We're going to pull this stock out of his account, okay, put it into a brokerage account. The basis of $100,000, it becomes taxable to him that year he pulls that out. Even though he never sells the stock, he still has to pay tax on the $100,000. So his income was about $70,000. This caused an extra $100,000 come to him taxable.
Right.
So he had withheld $6,400 already for his taxes, and he owed another $22,000 because of this $100,000 basis. Okay. But because he's retiring at the end of the year, and we're doing this at the end of the year, he can pay that tax in January. Okay. And so what we did is we moved that Laclede or Spire stock into the brokerage account. We're going to hold it. January 1, I'm going to liquidate all of that stock. One, he needs to pay that $22,000 tax bill. Okay?
Right.
But here's the cool thing.
Kevin, hurry up. I'm out of time.
Okay, I'm sorry. So the cool thing about all of this is I'm showing him how to sell this stock, not pay tax on the stock, and ultimately he's going to only pay tax on the sale of the stock of 7.6% on the entire distribution. So it's kind of neat on how all of this works. And so this individual's barely paying any tax on the stock sale. He's also going to be able to do Roth conversions over the next few years at tax-free rates as well, too. So it's important for you to work with someone that understands this.
Yes, basically all this means is call you first before you do anything, whether you work for Laclede Glass, Monsanto, Boeing, or any other big company, or if you are close to retirement. The tax workshop is next Wednesday, right? Next Wednesday?
That's right. We have a tax workshop that's next Wednesday. McGraw, we are completely booked for it. But I opened up a new one for next month on the 17th of October, same time, 6 p.m.
All right. So the phone number, 314-641-1010 to find out more from Kevin Loyd, America's Wealth Management. He's with Legacy Wealth Advisors, and he co-hosts When Retirement Happens on the weekend with us. The website, whenretirementhappens.com, 314-641-1010. Kevin Loyd, thanks.